What's going on, everybody? It's your girl Danielle from Gable Music Ventures, and I am so excited because today we are reviewing Phoebe Bridgers' sophomore album, Punisher. Phoebe Bridgers is an American singer-songwriter based out of California who is best known for her solo music in the indie music rock scene. She does kind of like a folk thing with a little emo sprinkled in there. It can get pretty emo, but all very well and very tasteful.
This album was really a pleasure to listen to. I put it on and listened to it twice back to back while I was doing some drawing and creating some artwork. And I'm in a really good place when I'm creating artwork to be able to really listen. Interestingly enough, this album, more than most, it was the lyrics that really captured me, that made me really love it. Lyrics are almost the last thing I notice on average, but Phoebe really paints a picture with her lyrics, and there's a few of her lyrics throughout this album that honestly are some of my favorites that I can say, really ever. And so really a pleasure to listen to, and really captured, I think, the times that we're living in here in 2020 as an album. Just the overall tone was kind of haunting and ominous.
The artwork for this album is really cool. She's in her famous skull onesie, kind of looking up into the atmosphere, looking up into the stars. She's kind of on this backdrop of, maybe it looks like she's in Arizona or the desert. Looks like some kind of desert land. It's really, really cool. I like that they use primary colors because it immediately grabs your attention. There's lots of shadows in it and stuff like that. So it kind of looks like she's in outer space, maybe. Not really so much the desert. It kind of gave me more of an outer space feel, which is very fitting for the theme of it, because it is, for me, I think the album is very dreamlike, very outer spacey, so I liked it. The first song on the album is actually just an intro. It's called DVD Menu, which I thought was really cool, really funny, and kind of tasteful. I haven't popped a DVD in a really long time, but I do remember the DVD menu screen getting stuck and waking up to it till like 2 o'clock in the morning because I was too lazy to turn it off. It does give a very kind of eerie sound. It's got a lot of string instruments. Sounds like maybe like a cello's in there. Some electronic sounds way in the background, and it's a really perfect segue into the first song. It brings a lot of those same elements.
Garden's song starts off with one of those really like slap you in the face, attention grabbing lyrics when she randomly is talking about when a skinhead neighbor goes missing and how she's going to plant a garden. To me, lyrics don't need to make sense as much. You don't necessarily need to know what someone's talking about, but any lyric that actually grabs my attention and makes me remember it, I'm really impressed by. I think it's really cool.
It's really cool, really spacey. It kind of comes in, and she's got a lot of guitar. She's got a really perfect tone throughout, and this is the one. It comes in quick, and I really like it.
The harmony that's several octaves lower on the chorus really also makes this song fit really well with the rest of the album in terms of the tone and it being kind of dark and ominous.
There is a really cool tenor voice, if you hear, and a lot of the chorus and a lot of background vocals. Just a little tidbit, just a little juicy tidbit, that is her tour manager. He's this big 6'7" burly Dutch man, and he was singing Mitski in the van one time, and she heard him, and she said he had the voice of an angel, so he was around when she was recording this song, so she asked him if he could come and record some background vocals. So I thought that was really cool. When you hear something and it's just a perfect, you just gotta throw it in the song, and that's what she did. Next up is KYOTO. KYOTO is one of everybody's favorite or songs on the album. I think it's one of the only kind of more upbeat songs that she recorded. She said she recorded it originally as a slower song, a ballad, but then when it came time to record it, her and her producer came down to, do we want every song on the album to be like that, or do we want to have something that has a little bit more diversity to it? So when they went to record this, they added some really cool horns, some harmonies in it, and honestly, I think it came out perfect. I wouldn't have minded another slow ballad. I don't usually like those, but when she does them, I really do enjoy them. And this was one. It was kind of cool, fun, and to watch her get a little crazy. If you haven't seen the music video, you should definitely check it out. It's all done on green screen. It's really funny.
The whole rest of the album is very sparse when it comes to drums, when it comes to just kind of that radio friendly vibe. And so, I mean, I understand why it was radio hit, but I feel like if it's the only song you've heard on this album, you're doing it a disservice, and you should really listen to the rest of the album.
The lyrics for this are really cool. It's basically her touring around Japan. She gets a day off in KYOTO, which is a really big city in Japan. Instead of hanging out with her band, she gets bored, hangs around a 7-Eleven, and then calls her father on a payphone, where they begin to talk about their relationship. He's trying to get sober. He missed her little brother's birthday, and then the rest of it is just very reminiscent. She writes a lot of songs about her dad, which I think is pretty cool. And this one is done in a way that as sad as it can be sometimes, she loves him. You gotta love him. So it's a really fun and upbeat. Next on the album is the song Punisher. It is the title track on the album. It's not one of my favorites, but I really enjoy the lyrics of it. It's a really cool story. It's about an obsessed fan. So it's her playing a fan who's obsessed with her. Kind of crazy. I think that's how it is. I really enjoyed it as far as the lyrics.
But again, starting off with the line, when the speed kicks in, I go shopping for nothing, really grabbed my attention. But there's a couple of other lyrics in this particular song that I really liked. I swear I'm not angry, that's just my face. I feel like I've heard friends say that many, many times. It's a great lyric. It just seems very personal. Either I'm careless or I want to get caught. That is something that has a lot of meaning to me as someone that has struggled with addiction in my life. Anybody that has struggled with addiction in your life, that line's gonna mean a lot to you. It kind of encapsulates the entire addictive experience, really. Really cool song. I really like this one.
I did want to note that she has some really cool effects going on with her vocals that reminded me a bit of that Imogen Heap song, the one that everybody was like obsessed with, where she does those vocals and it's like layered like 4 or 5 times. There's like no actual musicians in the song. There's no music in the song. It's just her and her vocals. She uses an effect in that song that reminds me of that. It may not be that exact one, but it does remind me of that. Also, I don't know if I said her name right. I think it's Imogen Heap. Let me know if I pronounced it right down in the comments. I might be messing it up. I don't know. I hate butchering people's names, but it's bound to happen sometimes, especially when you have a cool name like Imogen Heap. I think I called Phoebe Bridges for the longest time. I don't know. I'm tripping.
Halloween definitely fits in terms of the tone of the album. The lyric that really jumped out at me in this one is when she's talking about how she hates living near the hospital, and that they used to joke that if a siren wakes you up, someone better be dying. Again, it's very dark and just very fitting, and really paints a picture. You can imagine them, having this conversation and talking about that one day.
Always surprised by what I do for love, some things I'd never expect. They killed a fan down by the stadium, was only visiting, they beat him to death. That actually is inspired by true events. When she was a kid, she thought it was insane that people would actually get killed at the Dodger Stadium. It just kind of goes to show you the amount of insanity that comes with being passionate and being in love sometimes. So I thought that was really cool.
I love the bridge. It's such a departure. It's a complete tone shift where they just keep saying, be whatever you want, be whatever you want. It almost is like this little bit of hope that's inserted into this song. And then it goes right back to being dark and ominous afterwards. And it's just really cool how it fits together. The bridge is an outlier. It doesn't so much fit with the rest of the album, but it fits perfect in this song somehow. As a songwriter, I really appreciate that.
Another juicy tidbit is Conor Oberst. Let me know if I pronounced that wrong too. I do apologize. But Conor Oberst is the lead singer of the very popular band Bright Eyes. He also has a side project with her called Better Oblivion. He does the backup vocals in this song. She's got a couple cool features in this. Phoebe Bridgers is a very collaborative type of musician, so when it came to her solo project, she always calls her friends into the studio to do cool features and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty sweet. Next up, we got Chinese Satellite. I like this song. I thought it was pretty cool. It starts off with some driving guitar and the classic Phoebe Bridgers tone that I really, really enjoy. She's got some big orchestrated strings going on and stuff like that when the chorus comes in. I think when you're an artist and you even have the mindset to put that type of stuff in your music and do it in such a tasteful way, it really separates you from being just a regular indie folk emo artist to being like a very well respected and very well rounded musician and artist.
This song, Chinese Satellite, is one of the few that actually has drums. As a drummer, I really appreciate the songs that have drums. This one actually has a little bit more of a traditional hook, which I also really liked. It kind of can stay in your head a little bit. Also, by far one of my favorite lyrics in the entire album, with you were screaming at the evangelicals, and if I remember correctly, they were screaming right back. That's awesome. I don't know a lot of people that would come up with that lyric, and really sets her apart. I think that sort of shows that she's a very unique and interesting person, and just a one-of-a-kind songwriter. Really cool.
I also think that this song is either about God or aliens or both. I don't know. Let us know what you think the song is about down in the description.
Moon Song didn't stick out to me. I mean, it wasn't one of my favorite songs on the album. It certainly fits right in with this album. There's this one lyric where, you couldn't have stuck your tongue down the throat of someone that loves you more. And it's a really almost kind of an ugly way of expressing something passionate and loving, which is, again, as a songwriter, I can appreciate that. I don't have a lot to say about Savior Complex. I think it's a really pretty song. It's a well-written song. I love the strings in the song, and I think it fits. I think it fits with the album, but is still kind of an outlier in that, it's just a really pretty song. It doesn't focus so much on being dark and ominous.
I was very interested to hear this song because I had read about it first, that she had come up with the melody in a dream. And I love when artists use whatever their subconscious brain comes up with in dreams and then actually brings it to fruition. So this was really, really interesting. It definitely has a very dreamy feel about it. It kind of reminded me of the Beatles, the way she had arranged the songs and the instruments that she used in it. And the Beatles definitely went through their dreamy songs and stages as well. So the lyrics are really cool. The song is about when you romanticize someone who really is not too good to themselves. You're better to them than they are to themselves, and it's a very difficult thing to come to terms with, something I can relate to all too well. So thank you, Phoebe, for letting me know what I needed to know. Next on the album is I See You. That is my personal favorite song on the entire album. It's a really, really cool song that she actually wrote about her current drummer, Marshall, who is also her ex-boyfriend. Is very strange. I know. She says she switches up people in her band a lot, but her drummer's always the same. And they're always like, are we going to replace Marshall at any point? And she was like, no, we really kind of can't at this point. He's such a good sound, and they're really good friends. But she wrote it about them breaking up. So I'm sure that's very awkward for them to play together. They're both kind of a little bit of weirdos anyway. They talk about each other like they're both weirdos, so I don't think it really matters to them too much. But I really, really like this song. It's done in such a fun and cheeky way.
Like KYOTO, it's a little bit more upbeat. It's definitely more radio friendly. Unlike KYOTO, I think that it still fits the tone of this album. It does have one of my favorite lines, because it's, again, very relevant to the times that we're living in, when she says, it's amazing how much you can say when you don't know what you're talking about.
One of the lyrics is, I hate your mom. I hate it when she opens her mouth. It's amazing to me how much you can say when you don't know what you're talking about. Which I don't know, something about that really, really made me laugh. Definitely reminded me of some of the mothers of some of the exes of people that I have dated. I was listening to it in the car with my girlfriend when I first heard it, and I immediately looked at her and asked her if that's how she felt about my mom. And her reply was, I don't hate your mother.
Graceland 2 really is an outlier. It's like an entirely different genre got introduced into the album. Very bluegrassy. I think it's either a mandolin or a banjo. that's brought into this. Doesn't so much fit with the rest of the album, but I love that it got included because it really did add some nice variety to it.
You know, I am at heart a country girl, so I do love to hear those elements in songs, especially from people who don't necessarily consider themselves a country artist. So I thought that was really tight. I didn't really pay this kind of song. I didn't really pay too much attention to the lyrics because I just loved her voice in it. The harmonies in this song are the thing to really pay attention to. That is indeed Julian Baker and Lucy Dukas. I can't pronounce her name. I'm sorry. I got to get better at this. But they're in her side project, Boy Genius, together, and I loved Boy Genius. I think Boy Genius is really cool. Both Lucy, Julian, and Phoebe have their own solo careers, and they're very well respected in the indie music scene and just across the board, just as writers and musicians. So the fact that they have a band together is super tight, and then the fact that she brings them in to come and work on her solo album, her solo record, is even cooler. So definitely check out those harmonies, and also check out those other two artists, Julian Baker and Lucy Dukas, as well as Boy Genius. Because if you like this album, you like Phoebe Bridgers' Punisher, you're definitely gonna like those too. You know it, I know it. Last song on the album is titled I Know the End. You like that?
I Know the End was by far my favorite track on this album. I think I've listened to the album 3 or 4 times now, but I've listened to this song probably 7 or 8 times, just keep going back to it.
She said it was the first song that she started working for, and it was the last song that she finished. So it was perfect. She put it right towards the end.
I think possibly one of my favorite lyrics ever is right in the beginning when she says, but you had to go, I know, I know, I know, like a wave that crashed and melts into the shore. I believe that's the line. And to me, again, as a songwriter, if I wrote something like that, nothing would stop me from making sure that the rest of the world heard that line. It's brilliant. It's so poetic. It again brings out the creativity in me, makes me want to create something, gets me fired up. So kudos Phoebe, because wow. It's really a perfect soundtrack for 2020. It's all out cacophony. I mean, there's people screaming, there's horns, and it just feels like 2020 in every way. I get this vision of them recording it in the studio and just having this really cathartic moment where they all just get to scream and scream and scream. And to me, one of the most chilling parts of this entire album, and it really, when I say chilling, it gives me the chills, is she closes it out kind of silently screaming, and you could hear the emotion. It's barely there, it's a whisper, but you can just feel the emotion so much, and it's just, wow. I don't know what else to say other than wow, one of my favorite tracks I've heard in a long time.
So that's it. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, you agree, you disagree. We want to talk to you. We want to hear what you guys got to say. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, hit the little bell so whenever we post more reviews or any other little things we want to throw at you guys, you won't miss out on it. Thank you. Stay safe, take care, and rock on.